Right, it's Wednesday afternoon. We are in the London Lounge. I say we, plural. There we are. There's GLA member Richard Barnbrook. Richard, we've just been in the chamber for Mayor's Question Time, and one or two little snippets came out there, but of the main interest, I think, to everybody in there was your contribution with regards British jobs for British workers, and you actually said those words, didn't you?
Yes. Again, like always, Jeanette Arnold, the chair, and Boris Johnson sort of play pack games, Labour and Conservative, tweedledum, tweedledee. So the question was officially, how many jobs, in light of British jobs, British worker strikes have been going on, are going to go to British employees in the 5 boroughs that make up the Olympic site. And again, Boris decided to lose off the British jobs for British workers. So the opening thing was British jobs, British workers. Let's get it quite clear. But again, Boris can't give an answer. The fact is, he's sort of indicating that the world should, or Britain, London, should be open to the whole world. Anybody come in. And he didn't like the idea of being titled an international gangmaster. We all know what they are, people that sort of work on the poverty of people and also neglect of their own community.
Yes, you actually called him an international gangmaster, which really took him aback. He seemed quite hurt, but that in effect is what we're dealing with here when we've got a policy that doesn't seem to mind that Indigenous Londoners are thrown on the dole, bankrupted, houses repossessed, while a steady flow of cheap labour comes through the doors.
And the Olympic body are simply saying, well, as long as someone's in the city, they must live in the city. So they do no checks to find out if they live in the 5 boroughs, if they're in permanent resident there, if they've been there for 1 hour, or 2 weeks, or 2 months. There's no check at all. And for Boris to simply sort of harp on again about let's have an international workforce over here, when our own people cannot find employment, and as you mentioned, Simon, quite rightly, houses are being repossessed. This seems like the whole tweedledum, tweedledee setup of that chamber, and the Rainbow Alliance couldn't really give a damn about the British worker or the family. They keep paying lip service to it, but they do actually nothing about it at all. And it is us taking it forward. Brown harps on about that, the term British jobs, British workers as some sort of throwaway spin or cliche. And when we say it, we mean it and we act upon it.
Yeah, I think the crux of your argument with the question that you asked was that in the 5 boroughs that surround the Olympic site, people can just move in there from Poland.
Yep.
And then they're classified, because they live in the area, as a British worker or a local person, which makes a nonsense of it already, doesn't it?
Of course it does. And again, a lot of the questions mentioned today were on the poverty of the community, on actually creating more houses for families.
Yeah.
And yet, the argument that Boris tries to pass over regards the aspect of British jobs for British workers and the building of the Olympic site it's farcical.
Yeah.
And this amnesty he saw intent in going ahead with, or proposing to go ahead with, is really quite ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the whole Olympic project is based on a legacy to local people, and part of that is a skills legacy.
Yes.
You asked him about that skills legacy, and whether or not that would be furnished by the fact that people coming in from Eastern Europe or wherever can just come in and out, work on the site, and then they're gone. There's no local legacy there at all, is there?
Was there an answer? No. Like always, he weeps back to the chair, Jeanette Arnold, and says, almost indicating, do I have to answer this? I think the fact of the matter is, he cannot answer it. He hasn't got an answer. So he wimps out by relying upon her as his safeguard.
Well, I think you really did floor him when you quoted him from the Daily Telegraph, where he wrote that only the Luddites of the Trades Union and the far-right BNP are supporting the British jobs for British workers strike.
And his idea was, no, we should have an open free market. Yeah. And, it begs belief how he can even think that way with the recession now going into depression.